Welcome to today's episode of The Business Consultant. Today's world is marked with change and challenges, and similarly, Keppel Offshore Marine has its own set of challenges like increasing competition from local companies like Sembcorp, other countries like Korea and China. It operates in an industry that has a cyclical nature and faces increasing environmental regulations on its operations. Let's better look at Keppel. Keppel O&M is a wholly owned subsidiary of Keppel Corporation Limited. It is a leader in offshore rigs, ship repair and conversion, and specialized shipbuilding. Keppel O&M's near market, near customer strategy is bolstered by a global network of 17 yards in the Asia-Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, Brazil, the Caspian Sea, Middle East, and the North Sea regions. Integrating the experience and expertise of its yards worldwide, the group aims to be the provider of choice and partner in solutions for the offshore and marine industry.
Keppel faces increasing competition, not only from our local rival Sembcorp, but also from our global competitors in China and Korea. This is mainly due to an increase in demand for oil rigs, in which we recorded a 41% increase in revenue. The rise in demand also resulted in numerous speculative orders. This, together with the cyclical nature of the industry, makes the demand very volatile. In addition to that, we are also constantly reviewing our company. We are constantly evolving our company into a green company such that we conform our standards to tighter environment regulations.
In order to tackle the challenges, some analysts have recommended Keppel to increase its global presence by acquiring shipyards in strategic locations. However, this might not be favorable for Keppel, as Keppel has recently expanded globally into Brazil. Due to the cyclical nature of the industry, Keppel faces the risk of over-excess capacity in certain periods of the year if it continues to grow. Other analysts have recommended Keppel to further leverage its shipbuilding and repair expertise, but it's definitely not Keppel's greatest strength and might not be very profitable. So which way would be the best way to go? Let's hear from our consultant.
I think Keppel can adopt a differentiation and diversification strategy moving forward. Firstly, about differentiation. In welcoming new challenges ahead via a differentiation strategy, Keppel utilizes its existing infrastructure to create new ways to generate revenue. In this regard, I think that there are two industries attractive to Keppel: the repairing and rebuilding of oil rigs, as well as the decommissioning of oil rigs.
Need to replace the rigs built in the 1970s and 1980s with new sophisticated, technically advanced and more efficient units result in a huge potential in the repair and rebuilding of oil rigs. Given his expertise and experience in building oil rigs, there's little fixed and transitional cost in setting up this department, where its sole focus is examining existing oil rigs and providing the same extensive knowledge that Keppel already has. In addition, providing such service allows Keppel to provide good after-sales service, ensuring that the customer has good existing infrastructure to meet the demands of the global world. In utilizing its current infrastructure to manage the decommissioning of oil rigs, Keppel is recognizing the huge number of companies that are currently retiring their obsolete oil rigs built in the 1970s and 1980s. This, with the increasing emphasis on green practices, creates huge potential in the oil rig decommissioning market. Partial decommissioning of oil rigs involve dismantling of the rigs with minimal environmental impact, in stark contrast with traditional methods. This is done through the conversion of the decommissioned oil rigs into artificial reefs friendly to marine life form. Rendering the service and responsibility of retiring offshore rigs when they are no longer in use also makes sense given Keppel is the world leader in offshore rig construction. Keppel currently lacks the technical expertise required in such operations, though it has the tools available. Keppel should hence talent scout top talents via an aggressive HR policy. In addition, Keppel can acquire major shares over another oil rig decommissioning firm like Claxton Engineering to gain relevant expertise. The NPV expected is 907 million, discounted by 5 years at 4.8.
Through a diversification strategy, Keppel can invest in new infrastructure after identifying new promising markets. Given that the world is increasingly concerned over clean energy sources, and that the Japan nuclear meltdown incident highlights how dangerous nuclear energy can be, tapping on green energy would be a safe and viable option.
Wind energy industry presents a good solution given its exponential growth as compared to other renewable energy sources. In particular, Europe has expressed particular interest in wind energy, with Denmark, Germany and Spain leading the market, utilizing 20% of their energy from wind turbines. Wind energy is the most promising carbon-free non-nuclear alternative to fossil-fueled grid power. Given the cyclical nature of the oil industry, investing in wind energy decreases the disastrous effect brought about by speculative and unstable demand. The building of wind turbines is also appropriate given a large amount of oil rigs that are increasingly being decommissioned. The NPV expected is 90.5 million, discounted by 5 years at 4.84%. Keppel can seize the opportunity in providing a complete solution for companies in changing their energy to renewable energy sources by first decommissioning the oil rigs, then using the remnants to build the wind turbines. By mounting conventional windmills on decommissioned oil platforms, Keppel can also save the expense of designing and building specialized offshore wind equipment. The oil rig will now be transformed from an environmental hazard into something of an environmental savior. For the first 3 years, Keppel will need to prepare itself into venturing into the wind turbine industry through research, recruiting talents, application for permits, and recruitment of skilled labor. In the long run, Keppel should purchase a majority share in an existing player like Upron in the current industry to acquire suitable technical expertise and architect.
Consultant Geryan's recommendation sounds excellent. However, I think that we need to consider the possible backlashes by the stakeholders in this venture, who may view our expected negative NPV for the first 2 years as a sign of our incompetence. However, we are confident of our offshore wind energy project, given that the industry's expected growth of 80% is projected for the following year. Through frequent investors meetings and the issuing of financial statement, and really referring them to the successful case studies in Europe, I think we can convey the message of how this is sustainable to them. It is good for the shareholders themselves through the increase in share price.
However, Keppel's plan is beset by certain risks. Firstly, the occurrence of extreme events like strong winds and tidal waves may impact Keppel's wind farm, causing financial losses through damages repaired. This may lead to a failure in satisfying customer value. To mitigate this risk, Keppel can invest in suitable technology. The usage of partially decommissioned oil rig as a base adds stability to the structure, allowing a hydraulic system to be built to lower the turbines in harsh weather conditions and avoid risk of damage. A maintenance department should also be established to check the turbines frequently. In the event that the turbines are damaged by freak weather, there should be a robust standard operating procedure dictating the business management plan to be executed and managed. In addition, there may be a shortage of skilled labour needed for the decommissioning service and wind power project, as Keppel is a relatively new industry player. This results in costs incurred in terms of lack of efficiency among workers. Apart from the acquisition of firms, Keppel can launch training programs for existing engineers to fine-tune their skills. Keppel can also launch internships to attract fresh graduates, as well as tying up with tertiary institutions to get PhD students involved in the technical aspects of the project.
By integrating the repair, rebuilding and decommissioning of oil rigs into its current operations, as well as venturing into wind energy in the long run, Keppel would be able to assure itself in tackling the challenges of the 21st century, and in so doing, entrench its market leadership position. Thank you, and we hope to see you next week in The Business Consultant. Welcome to today's edition of The Business Consultant. So today we are going to look into Keppel. The problem is
Keppel faces increasing competition not only from our local rival Sembcorp, but also from our global competitors in China and